Kempire is brought to you by Happy 2025. It's a new year and it's a new era for the Kempire podcast. Make sure you subscribe today and make sure that you give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And shout out to those of you that have left glowing reviews and maybe not so glowing reviews. That's okay too. Thank you so much for the support and sharing our new podcast and everything that's to come. We don't just recap all the things that you've seen already on our YouTube channel. You also get special exclusive episodes and sometimes additional thoughts to the live recaps that we had on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe today and make sure you give us a 5-star review. Thank you in advance. You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, guys, be sure to let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and behind the scenes here on TikTok. Be sure to let me know where you guys are watching from as well. This is our weekly recap of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but I do have a couple of stories that are Real Housewives related that I want to discuss. And sadly, we have some really sad news to report because Teddi Mellencamp just came out on her social media in regards to her diagnosis. And she posted this on her Instagram not too long ago saying, "For the last several weeks, I've been dealing with severe and debilitating headaches. Yesterday, the pain was unbearable and required hospitalization. After a CT scan and MRI, doctors found multiple tumors on my brain, which they believe have been growing for at least 6 months. 2 of the tumors will be surgically removed today. The remaining smaller tumors will be dealt with via radiation at a later date. I am blessed to be surrounded by my children, family, friends, doctors, nurses, and surgeons who are doing everything possible to get me back into better health. Thank you to everybody who has reached out and to everyone who has supported me along this journey." Very, very scary. She's dealt with cancer before, so we're sending our prayers for Teddi Mellencamp, no matter how we feel about Teddi, because I'm not going to sit here and act as if we haven't said things about Teddi. But when things are when things are this serious, we all are going to take a moment and say prayer and send good health to Teddi Mellencamp and her family during this time. All right. Mama Allie, yes, if we can get timestamps, that'd be greatly appreciated. So Teddi Mellencamp just revealed that she is going through a health scare right now in regards to multiple tumors being found, and she's going to have some of those tumors surgically removed tomorrow. Or removed today. So prayers to Teddi Mellencamp, formerly of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. All right. Moving from that, we have some Real Housewives updates in regards to divorces finalized and pending divorces. Look, I've been away, so I haven't had an opportunity to catch you up, but these literally happened yesterday and today. Okay. So before we get into not so shocking, but shocking divorce that's coming up, Ashley Darby finally finalized her divorce. Right? Come on.
What is this, honey?
Yes, according to People magazine, Ashley Darby has finalized her divorce just in time for the new season of The Real Housewives of Potomac. Well, just ahead of the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion, where I'm sure she will talk more about it and whether or not she's going to get something out of the divorce. As you know, if you watch the Real Housewives of Potomac finale, she talked about, them reaching an agreement. Okay. And she had to, give up a few things, I'm guessing. We shall see. A lot of people speculated that Ashley Darby was going to get half of everything of Michael's in the divorce, only for us to find out during, last year's reunion, that she's not going to get everything at all. And it seems as if she was going to get much of nothing in this divorce. So it might be part of the reason why she's dragged this out for as long as she has. So according to People magazine, though, her divorce from Michael Darby, you know him, Gullum, is officially divorced. They said on February 10th, the Real Housewives of Potomac finalized her divorce from husband Michael Darby more than 2 months after filing, according to court records obtained by People magazine, probably sent by Ashley Darby. Bravo and the Housewives have a close relationship with People magazine. Come on. The couple, who wed in 2014, have been separated since 2022, but Ashley only filed for divorce back in November, and we saw that play out during the season. Okay. The filing was confirmed to people by Ashley's attorney, who said in a statement, I can confirm that Ashley Darby has filed for divorce from her husband, Michael Darby. Ashley is very happy that they were able to come to an amicable resolution that puts their children first. Ashley announced the pair's split nearly 3 years ago in a statement to Bravo's The Daily Dish, as she said that they were at very different stages in their lives. Meaning that she didn't want to have any more threesomes and he still wanted to. She said it, not me. Okay, anyways. Okay. They said that they were at very different stages in our lives and have different goals for our futures. He wants more people in the bedroom. She wants less. She says, we are aware that there will be many speculative views as to why we have made this decision. People will be quick to assume that the causes were too much intrusion by reality TV into the most personal parts of our lives, age gap issues, cultural problems, or child rearing differences, she said. Pieces of all of these may have affected our pure love for each other, but no one reason is the root because of our mutual decision to go our separate ways. A source told People at the time that the couple had been having serious problems for a year before their split. We've been watching this show for how many years? There have been issues looming with this couple for multiple years. There's been a visceral disconnect between them as a couple. For Ashley, the inconsistencies within the relationship and trust issues led to the split. She couldn't trust that he would not cheat on her, allegedly. In January, during an appearance on Watch What Happens Live, Ashley said the divorce was in the hands of Virginia State and claimed that her ex-husband has been in the streets every weekend. He's been in the streets every weekend of every year that they've been married. Okay. As you know, she also said that their sons, Dean 5 and Dylan 3, only know that they don't live under the same roof, but there hasn't been any further discussion of the split. Ashley is now seeing Josh Harlow. This is my first time actually seeing Josh's last name. His last name is Gutenberg. That's his last name, Josh Gutenberg. We will be continuously calling him Josh Harlow from now on. Okay. Who she met at a speed dating event on RHOP. She told Andy Cohen, he's a good guy. As she said on their relationship, we don't have any labels at the moment, but we are only banging each other.
Shut up! That is so stupid.
All right, so that's your update. Ashley Darby has finalized her divorce. She is no longer Ashley Darby. I don't know. Maybe she'll be keeping her last name because of her kids. You know, some people do that. But do you see a future of Ashley on the show? Look, she hasn't had Michael on the show in a few seasons because he refused to film because it's only made people dislike him even more for his own truth. But a lot of people have been over Ashley for a while now. I don't see them getting rid of Ashley. She's in the good graces of Bravo, and she filmed that show Love Hotel with Giselle and Shannon Beador and Countess Luann. So I don't see her going anywhere. I just don't really love seeing her, to be honest with you. All right. In other Bravo news, marriage-related news, and you probably won't be shocked by this one, but Apollo Nida is getting a divorce.
What is this, honey?
Yes, Apollo Nida, according to In Touch Weekly, his wife, Phaedra's ex-husband, but his current wife, has filed. So they said, according to In Touch, Real Housewives of Atlanta star Phaedra Parks' ex-husband, Apollo Nida, was hit with divorce papers by his current wife, Shireen Copez, who accused him of adultery and cruel treatment. In Touch can exclusively report. According to court documents obtained by In Touch, Shireen filed for divorce from Apollo, who's 46, on February 7th. In her filing, she listed the date of marriage as October 14th, 2022. That's not that long ago. Why did I feel like they were married for a long time? But remember, he was also locked up. They won't let him out. And the date of separation as November 1st, 2023. Didn't they film? Didn't she show up? Didn't she show up on this Married to Medicine? Did she show up on the trip? I remember they said she wasn't coming, but didn't she show up? I could have sworn I saw her in the trailer. So is that going to hurt her case? That's saying that their date of separation was November 1st, 2023. Mrs. Squire, you're in the building. maybe they were living separately. But remember, we did a whole separate video letting you guys know about Apollo being caught on the ring cam, going to another woman's house, cuddled up with another woman. So I'm surprised we didn't hear about her filing for divorce then. That was, I don't know, was that even last year or was it maybe it was November of 2023? So Shireen says that their date of marriage was October 14, 2022, and the date of separation was November 1st, 2023. So they only got married in 2022, but they had been together for a long time. Remember, he was locked up. Remember, there may have been allegedly an overlap in her relationship with Apollo while he was still married to Phaedra Parks. Okay. Shireen said that she was not asking for alimony from Apollo because what is she? There ain't no alimony to get. She probably makes more than he does. What does Apollo do? Okay. So Shireen says that she was not asking for alimony from Apollo. In her filing, she claimed that the marriage was irretrievably broken and there is no hope that we can get back together. In addition, she claimed that Apollo subjected her to cruel treatment and that he had sexual intercourse with someone during their marriage. And someone, you mean someone's allegedly, had sexual intercourse with someone during their marriage and that he was, quote, intentionally and continually deserted me for at least a year. They have been only married since 2022, but technically they've been together for many years while he was locked up, okay? So she says that he has subjected her to cruel treatment and that he had sexual intercourse with someone during their marriage and that he had intentionally and continually deserted me for at least a year. She wrote, Apollo has committed adultery multiple times throughout our relationship. Some of his relationship, he was in jail. Did it include that time? Just asking the questions that you guys are thinking. Just asking. Apollo has committed adultery multiple times throughout our relationship. Are we expecting a man that has gone to jail for all kinds of lies and tomfoolery for him to be faithful? Just asking. I'm asking the questions. Apollo has committed adultery multiple times throughout our relationship. Apollo refused to seek professional help with his mental health issues, and instead he emotionally and physically abused me and brought great emotional abuse to his stepdaughter. What? Are we surprised? In her filing, she asked the court to grant her a divorce, divide up the marital property and debts. On the same day, Shireen filed an alleged settlement agreement she reached with Apollo that was signed in October. The alleged deal read, the parties shall continue to live in a marital home and each one shall be free from all interference and control by the other as fully as unmarried. And they're going to live in the same house after their divorce. I mean, I get it in these financial times, but at the same time, I'm like, could you? Really? What? Okay. So according to this deal that they reached, allegedly, because that's what they said in touch, the party shall continue to live in a marital home and each one shall be free from all interference and control by the other, as fully as unmarried and each may reside at such place until both parties find a suitable home and all asset division has been agreed upon. Apollo also waived his right to collect spousal support per the deal. The exes said that they did not have any joint debt to handle. The alleged settlement agreement included a permanent restraining order requiring Apollo not to harass or stalk his ex-wife. I don't understand how you have a restraining order and you're living in the same house. Someone explain this to me, because I know some of y'all been through this. No judgments. We listen and we don't judge publicly. How are you supposed to live in the same house and have a permanent restraining order? The alleged settlement agreement included a permanent restraining order requiring Apollo not to harass or stalk his ex-wife. The alleged deal also stated by consenting to this, Apollo in no way admits that such acts were ever done in the past. The allegations of abuse? Because she had those claims. In no way admits such acts were done in the past, but agrees to not engage in such acts in the future. What? The deal appeared to be signed by both parties in October of 2024, but was not submitted in court until this week. When contacted for comment on Shireen's allegations, Apollo told In Touch, "I did not agree to anything. We will have to have our day in court." Oh. A lot of the language is false. As In Touch first reported back in March of 2024, Apollo was arrested over alleged simple assault following an incident with Shireen. The drama started after Shireen called police claiming Apollo had gotten physical with her. The police report said that Shireen told officers she came home after a night out with a friend. Apollo and Shireen both accused the other of cheating when she got home, according to the police report. I believe we did a video on this talking about this. I can't keep up with all this stuff. Shireen claimed that Apollo showed her a video of her kissing another man. You could do the same thing, Shireen. We just go back to my video. You remember when, Apollo, you were caught on the ring cam? Because I'm assuming this happened after the ring cam footage came out. So Shireen claimed that Apollo showed her a video of her kissing another man, which led him to pulling her hair and pushing her against a refrigerator. She said they got into a scuffle and she ran outside for help. She claimed that she went back inside to get her phone and Apollo was gone. According to the report, Shireen showed officers surveillance video of the verbal altercation, but none of the alleged physical altercation was on the footage. Apollo told officers that he tried to take Shireen's phone during an argument. He said that she balled up on the ground to protect her phone, but he was still able to retrieve the device. He says that his then wife ran outside for help, but he ran after her to give her the phone. Officers noted that neither party had any marks or bruises. Apollo was taken to the local jail and booked on a charge of simple assault. He was released on a $3,000 bond. So don't you have to get the 10% of that? That's what, $300? Prosecutors officially charged him with one misdemeanor count of simple battery/family violence against Apollo. Prosecutors' charging document read Apollo Edward Nida with the offense of simple battery. Isn't he still on probation? That can't be good. Family violence, a misdemeanor. For that said, accused in the county of Fulton, state of Georgia, on or about March 11th of 2024, did intentionally make physical contact of an insulting and provoking nature with the person of Shireen Lopez, who is the present spouse of accused, by pulling her by the hair and pushing her. At the time, Shireen told In Touch, also she's been talking to In Touch, "It was a huge blowout between a married couple that has brought us much closer since then." I remember covering this. "We have worked through our issues and have been going to couples therapy." But you said you guys have been separated since November of 2023, unless that's a typo. This is happening in 2024. Okay, I'm just trying to piece everything together for you. Okay. She says, "We have worked through our issues and have been going to couples counseling." The end. Shireen also denied the accusations that she cheated. Apollo's criminal case has had no movement in months. Apollo was on federal probation as a part of a separate case over bank fraud and identity theft. He was sentenced to 8 years in prison in 2014. Phaedra, who will be returning to the Real Housewives of Atlanta this season, and Apollo were married from 2009 to 2014. The exes share 2 kids together, Aiden and Dylan, the president and the vice president. I don't remember what she calls them. I don't know. Yeah, Apro Life says that Kim and Croy still live together and they can't stand each other. Yeah, but they don't have restraining orders against each other. I don't know if that's true or not, but apparently she was requesting a restraining order, Shireen, Apollo's soon-to-be ex, but they are going to remain under the same roof? And I get it. In these financial times, some people, that's the only option, but it doesn't seem like the right option. The timeline for me doesn't make sense here. But apparently Shireen has filed for divorce from Apollo Nida. I knew that this was coming because, as you know, we reported on his recent arrest. We reported on his recent cheating. Not shocked, but stay tuned. Is this just another way for Apollo to have people interested in him? Is this just in time for Phaedra to actually have some sort of storyline this season? Because what exactly will be her storyline for Real Housewives of Atlanta? You could see that she's already utilizing him for Married to Medicine. I wouldn't be surprised if she's going to bring that over to Real Housewives of Atlanta. And to be honest with you, I really don't care because nothing about Phaedra is authentic and it doesn't come across authentic. But okay. we will continue. We will continue to cover this story. All right. All right. So that was your Bravo update in regards to other shows outside of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. If you're just joining us, this is our weekly recap of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I am back in the studio, as you can see, and for those that are listening, probably sounds a little bit better in regards to the audio. Shade. Carmen says, arrest, cheating, the way I'm clocked out. Y'all missed out, because I know I talked about this story in regards to Apollo. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Did you guys watch it? Did you enjoy it? How would you rate this week's episode? Let me tell you something. No matter how people feel about Reba, the way people feel, let me just tell you something right now. Where's Weezer? Lack of Weezer. Let me tell you something right now about Weezer. Reba. Look, the season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills has sort of been like up and down for me. I haven't loved it all season, but these Augusta episodes have really had me interested in a variety of different ways. Like, it's been funny, it's been emotional, it's been, someone that is a psychology major. It really speaks to me unpacking people's, the reason why they do what they do and their family history in regards to that. I was like, Reba, I don't want to see you every week, but I'm looking forward to you coming out to California and we see you be a part of Sutton's fashion show. Okay? All right. Let me just start with the after show. I know that doesn't seem like the right way to talk about something, but I will be kind of calling back to the episode because I took a lot of notes in regards to the after show and I normally don't. Did you guys watch the after show? They're not paying me, but they should. I will say I like the after show, especially the trifecta that is Garcelle, Sutton, and Jennifer Tilly. You don't get to know anything about Jennifer Tilly during the season, but in the after show, you get to know her really well. And I like her. And she is so, I think people see Jennifer Tilly and they don't realize how smart this woman is. She's really smart and intuitive in the way that she is able to sense what is going on with everyone. And she shares a lot of those opinions during the after show. All right. So I took a couple of notes. And again, I'm doing the after show first just because that's how I took my notes. Okay? Anyways. So Sutton says that she doesn't believe anything, that she's nothing like her mother. What do you guys think? I think she's like her mother in a lot of ways, but I don't think she's exactly like her mother. I think she's just a Virgo. Oh, but it's funny because Reba is a Cancer. I thought Reba would have said, astrology, smology, but she was like, yeah, I'm a Cancer, but I'm not very nurturing. So Reba is a Cancer and Sutton is a Virgo. Just keep that in mind. Kyle is, I guess because Erica Jane is in New York doing Broadway, that's why we don't see Kyle sitting with Erica during the after show, because they reshot or shot some more episodes for the after show where they have new looks. And Kyle is by herself. So Kyle says that she saw Sutton differently after meeting her mother. If anything, she said she now kind of excuses some of Sutton's behavior because of what she's seen with her mother. And I was like, oh, look at Kyle feeling a little sensitive for Sutton. Did meeting Reba, did that change how you viewed Reba? Or not even Reba, how you viewed Sutton? I think it explains a little bit. I don't know if I feel like it excuses. We all have different ways that we've grown up. Doesn't make excuses for grown adult behavior. Just say. So, and I'm talking about the after show for those that are just joining us before we get into the actual episode 11 of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, because they're unpacking in the after show some of what we're seeing in the episode. So Kyle says that there was another past cast member, Lisa Vanderpump. She says it starts with an L. And she says that cast member also never got I love yous from their mother. So she's like, for her, that kind of made more sense. And this person was always reaching out for like validation. And I was like, oh wait, no, because she would have said Lisa Rinna if it was Lisa Rinna. But I think she meant Lisa Vanderpump. She dare not say her name. Okay. But I do find it interesting because Sutton doesn't believe that she's anything like her mother. But Garcelle, who I feel like tells it like it is and is a good friend to Sutton, she's just like, yeah, she's very much like her mother in a lot of ways. Okay. And even the way that Sutton deals with, the way that Garcelle deals with Sutton and her interaction with Avi during this trip, how they're all like looking at each other, we know what we're dealing with. I'm like, part of me, because you have people in your lives that you treat with kid gloves. And so I don't see anything wrong with the way that they treat Sutton, because I think at this particular point, it's like you either deal with it or you don't deal with that person. That person's not someone that you have in your life. Either the pros outweigh the cons of being friends with Sutton. You know what I mean? It's not like she's abusing them, or is she? But back to the after show. So Kyle had this perspective after seeing Sutton's relationship with Wakaweeza, Reba. And so, isn't it perfect? Reba Weeza. And now I need to go watch Steel Magnolias again, just because I forgot how much I love that movie. Such a good movie. Just saying. Anyways. So Kyle has a new perspective on Sutton, and probably some new empathy for Sutton. Okay. Shar says that Sutton can be apathetic like her mother. That's probably where she learned it from. Oh, yeah. T, I almost forgot to even talk about that. It's not even worth it. 8.5 is suing the Association for Anesthesia. I forgot the official name. But yeah, the Association for Anesthesiologists. She's suing for defamation. Girl. She is annoying. Like, girl, you're wasting your time and money on suing an organization that was right, allegedly. That was the other. There was just so much news to talk about. That was the least of things that I wanted to talk about. Honestly, at this particular point, 8.5, you're more like a 2.5 because of how annoying you are. Theo says that Avi seemed to hate Reba. Wouldn't you? He already has to deal with Sutton, but he gets paid to deal with Sutton. Now he's got to deal with Reba. But Reba was having a good old time working his nerve. She really was. At one particular point, we see that during the episode, and Garcelle notices it too. And Garcelle and Reba smile and laugh at each other because they see what's happening. Deborah says 8.5 equals Drake. Yeah, like she's suing this organization for defamation over what happened on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and the fallout from her allegedly referring to herself as an anesthesiologist. I'm just like, oh, girl. We don't care at this point. And mind you, she posted a statement on social media. So it's not like we dug up the court records. Kay says, why do I feel like Reba knows what she's doing? She does. You think that she doesn't? Oh, Esther says, who's 8.5? Esther, why do you want us to make her say her name? Anna Marie from, was it last season or the previous season? I can't even remember. You remember Anna Marie. Anyways, just go away, lady. So annoying. Anyways, so back to the after show before we get to the actual episode, okay? Bose. So Bose reveals that Keely did, because during the episode, she reveals to Dorit and Erica, Keely and I are talking about having babies, but we haven't even said I love you to each other. I want to know your perspective. Replay crew, those of you in the live chat, how do you feel about what Bose had to say, that these two have sort of jumped ahead in talking about babies, but they haven't even said I love you to each other? She says since then, in the after show, they have said I love you, and he says it all the time. She was waiting for him to say it first. How do you have a conversation about babies, but you can't have a conversation about I love you? She said she felt it, but she wanted him to be the first to say it. And I know a lot of you can relate to that. Me personally, I haven't been in that situation yet. But me personally, if I truly love someone, I don't think I'm going to have a problem saying it. At all. If I say it first or if you feel that way or not. Am I going to feel a way if you don't feel that way? Probably, but I already know you do. I already know you do. Okay? But I have a feeling whoever I'm with is going to say it first. Just so lovable. Okay. So we find out in the after show, but during the episode, Bo says, we're talking about babies and things like that in the future, but we have not said, I love you. Doja says, I refuse. And I think a lot of women, I don't know about men, heterosexual men or gay men, weigh in, gay men. I don't know about you, but I do know a lot of people do make a big deal about who says it first. Here's the thing. I don't want to say it and you respond, me too. Like, I'd much rather it be initiated by you. Or like, oh, you know what? I've been wanting to say it, but I just didn't know when or how. I was scared. And I get it. I get people being scared in saying it. But at the same time, I don't want you to just say it because I said it. You know what I mean? Look, I love you. Just saying. But I think that goes for astrological signs. Aquariuses. Bose is an Aquarius. Or do you feel the same way that she does? I don't even think it has to do with astrological signs. It might. But I feel like there are a lot of people that feel the way that Bose felt. But would you be having conversations about babies without that already being said? You know? Teresa says, I am surprised at Bose. She comes across as too smart and intelligent for something like this, flag on the play, which is just a reminder, just because you are super intelligent and a boss lady in the conference rooms or these big offices, doesn't mean that you're still not, someone that just wants to be loved and is a fool for love. Just saying. Okay. All right. So we do find out in the after show that Keely has said it. All right. We also find out that Keely apparently, they tell the story about Keely. She usually keeps tabs on Keely when he's coming to visit her. Like, she knows like where he is and blah, 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 by, sharing locations. And then she noticed like he was in the area, and then she was like, where are you? Why aren't you here yet? And apparently Keely was going to see the route that they would take in order to take her for her fibroid surgery. So he did that. Very sweet. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I haven't forgotten about last week's episode and that conversation that she had with him that for me were red flags. I was like, what does he mean by that? Remember? Let's not forget last week's episode. Speaking of red flags. So Dorit decides to bring up during the after show, do you remember when Sutton said that she sees red flags with Keely? And Bo's just like, yeah, I remember that. And she's just like, and Dorit also says, I just feel like, misery loves company in regards to Sutton. And Bo's is just like, Sutton doesn't have good instincts. And she doesn't think that Sutton would be able to see a red flag or yellow flag or green flag or whatever flag or pride flag. Just asking. And I thought that was interesting because if I didn't see last week's episode, then I'm like, what is Sutton talking about? And we don't know why what justification Sutton said. According to Bo, she really didn't know anything about him in order to bring up red flags. But after watching last week's episode, the red flags were flaring for us. And we didn't have red flags until last week's episode with that conversation that Bose and Keely had. And I was just like, wait a second. Red flag, red flag. So apparently Sutton said the same thing. But Dorit and Bose feel like, you should not talk. Like, I don't trust you. I don't trust you in regards to red flags. Here's the thing. Again, I don't know what red flags Sutton was talking about, but for me, we saw some of the red flags last week with Keely. Okay? And then we brought up some of the other red flags. We were like, he's how old? Never been married, doesn't have children. Doesn't necessarily, it's not a red flag. It's like a pink flag. But okay. And then he said what he said, and I was like, Then in this week's episode, we saw I'm going to jump around just because it's relevant. We saw Bose talk with her daughter, Lael, about how the first time she met Keely was when he surprised them on a trip to Ghana. So they were already in Ghana and he showed up. Again, I don't know the context. She didn't seem to have a problem with it. I just thought it was weird that the first time that your daughter's meeting this man and it's like a rush thing, like, oh, so this guy that I'm dating, blah, 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 he's going to meet us here in Ghana? I don't know. Red flag, red flag. I don't know what that was. Again, I need more context, but I thought that was a little weird that the first time your daughter's meeting this man is on this international trip that you're on with your daughter. All of a sudden you're showing up on this trip. At this particular point, have you said, I love you? I'm asking. Am I wrong, ladies? You let me know. You guys, I can't with heterosexual men. Jack says he wanted a free. I'm sure he paid for himself, but I just thought, like, wait, why did you just show up on a trip? Bose has to quickly, unless he was already in Africa, unless he was going to be in Ghana. Again, I need more context, but something's off to me. Asking for a friend. Okay. So I thought that was weird when she brought that up too. And you guys let me know. I will be dropping the calling for our members first and then our live chat. Keep liking the video. It's easy and it's free. We're talking about the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Mama Ali is keeping the timestamp, so I will be adding them after the live. Okay, Gwen says, no, Kempire, you were right. I was like, wait a minute. He just showed up on your trip with your daughter and all of a sudden you have to explain to her who this man is. I was like, wait a minute. Okay. All right. Fine. But we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that conversation because I thought that was a beautiful conversation. Okay. Rachel says, sir, do you work? Come on. Again, we need more context. Maybe he already was in Africa somewhere else. And he's like, I'm in Africa too. And he came over. Things happen. Okay. All right. Lord. I don't know what's going on with our ladies. Like, I want the best for them, but some of these men are interesting. All right. What else happened during this after show? So Dorit brought up what Sutton said about Keely, and Bose was sort of like, yeah, she doesn't trust Sutton's instincts. Here's the thing. There's a lot of things we could say about Sutton. But one thing I'm going to say, depending on what we're talking about, if we're talking about relationships, okay, maybe she's not the best person to go to for relationships, but she was married to someone for a very long time. Okay, these two were together for a long time. They had children. They seem to have a lovely family. And her divorce, I will always cite that as an example of like, well, Sutton, what do you have to say? Because you ended up pretty good. Because a lot of times people do not end up great after a divorce. But you seem to be okay. Okay? So I don't know if I would say I don't trust her instincts. And she's also a Virgo. I always go back to that. I always tell you, get you a Virgo when you need something to get something done. So I don't know if I would say I don't trust Sutton's instincts. I don't know if I say I trust Sutton 100%, but I wouldn't know if I would say I wouldn't trust her instincts. Especially after what we've seen. Anyways. So Dorit then talks about in the after show. I want to just emphasize we're talking about the after show. Okay? So Dorit says that PK's email turned out to be empty threats. I just want you guys to pay attention because I've been telling you I don't believe the PK and Dorit storyline. I don't believe that they're getting a divorce. I think they've agreed that she's going to say certain things that might not be favorable to him. But you notice throughout the season, and I'm not saying there are a lot of people that go through divorce that are like, oh, do I really want to get a divorce? I just want you to pay attention that we see multiple times that Dorit is sort of, oh, this is what PK said, or that. She's like setting us up, but then she's also setting us up for, oh, I might get back with him. Anyone else notice that? So she says that, where he was sent the email and he was saying, you need to pay for the house and you need to do that and da-da-da-da. And she's like, he just came at me. And then she's like, well, I spoke to him and it seemed like they were empty threats. Okay? Zalik says, Kemp, you always say you believe none of the divorces. Have any of these people divorced? I believe the Ashley Darby divorce. What about the ones that I've said I don't believe the divorce? Have those people divorced? Cite your source. Cite an example, Zalig. Just saying. And I'm not saying that they won't eventually divorce. I didn't believe the Kyle divorce. I didn't believe the Dorit divorce. Still married. Y'all. Still married. Just saying. Doja, did you hear what I said? I said I believed the Ashley divorce. Okay? Exactly. Jean says, name them. That's what I need to add to the soundboard. Name them. Okay? Okay. I agree, Cherie. Cherie says she's unsure, and that's perfectly fine for her to decide when and if she wants to. Cherie, I'm so glad that you're falling for it because you're not the only one. I'm not falling for it. At all. They're not that good of actresses. None of them. In my humble opinion. Okay. Anyways, moving on. Shout out to everyone watching on TikTok. We see you guys. Thank you for the gifts. Shout out to everyone watching on Twitch, Twitter, and on Facebook, and of course here on YouTube. This is our weekly recap of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. As I was mentioning, we were talking briefly about the after show just because I felt like the after show was actually really, really good this week in regards to Beverly Hills. So Dorit says that a lot of what PK said in his email were empty threats. Okay. In the after show, when they talk more about Sutton and her father, Garcelle opens up about her own relationship with her father and a message that her father left when she was like a little girl and then he came back when she was like 14, but she didn't want to deal with him. She didn't want to be in his life the way that he wasn't in hers. So she talked about a note that he left that she never read, and she kind of regrets it. So Garcelle opens up a little bit about that. Garcelle, I want to next season, if you decide to come back, I want to see more of like your family, like your sisters, and I don't know if you have any brothers. I want to see more of that. Because I feel like we're learning in the after show a little bit more about what's going on with Garcelle, but this is not something that's actively going on. We all have a story. Doesn't mean that we deal with that story every single day, but we all have history. And we learned in the after show a little bit more about her own family history. And I was just like, oh, Garcelle. So she has regrets not reading because she's relating this to what Sutton's going through and some of the regrets and healing that Sutton is trying to accomplish. I will say this. After watching this week's episode, I understood even more why Sutton decided not to bring an Erica Jane. Remember Erica Jane last season? With the man in the purse. Where is it?
Merce is in the purse.
And although it was funny, I understood, because this is not a laughing matter for Sutton, I understood even more. I understood last week too. But I understood even more why Sutton decided not to bring some of the other women, specifically Erica. Yeah, Erica's from Georgia, but Erica and Sutton are not close like that. And she did not need Erica trying to make some sort of joke out of this healing. Especially because, yeah, she had some stuff to heal with Merce, but this is really deep for her because she was a daddy's girl. And I understood even more this week why it was necessary for her to be very selective in who she decided to bring on this trip. Deborah says the after show is better than the show. No, I don't want to say that. It definitely gives you more context and understanding, but the after show definitely was really good these last couple of weeks in unpacking what's happening. Okay. I haven't even started the episode yet, but I'm sort of like throwing back to the episode as we talk a little bit about the after show. Okay. But one of the things that Sutton says in the after show that I thought was powerful, she says she wants to release the blame from her mother. Because if you watched last night's episode of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, then you saw that Sutton admitted to having some resentment towards her mother because she felt like her mother was home that day. She knew that her father had pills, alcohol. There was a loaded pow, pow, pow in the house. She holds resentment, like her mother could have done something to prevent this from happening. So she says in the after show, she's just like, I want to release the blame from her. And I thought that was powerful that she was at least aware that she was holding this resentment and that she, by having these conversations, by going to see her, by revealing how she feels, because she says in the after show, she wants to have the conversation. She says like that's the next step that she needs to take in order to really heal from her relationship with her mom. Danny says, yeah, it's unfair to blame. Yeah, I think we all, and I think even in Sutton's rational mind, she realizes it's unfair to blame her mother for that because I'm sure her mother also blames herself. We don't know. The one thing that I loved about last week and this week's episode is because I think so many people can relate to holding grudges against family or your parents or whatever. There's a lot of relatable stuff these last couple of episodes. I think that a lot of people are very engaged with because of what Sutton is sharing. Because I think a lot of us will watch it and be like, Sutton, your mother loves you in her own way. And her mother's a therapist. And don't be shocked because a lot of therapists are the ones that need therapy. Yeah. Yeah, Deborah says that Jennifer Tilly in the after show really spoke so much truth to Sutton. And that's probably why Sutton loves having her around. Isn't Jennifer Tilly also a Virgo? Do I have that right? I don't remember. Okay. Wait a second. Eddie says the reason for the fracture in Kyle and Dorit's friendship is because Kyle hit on Dorit and Dorit turned her down. Eddie, what are you doing? You just come in here to spread some lies. Not Kyle. Kyle, I saw that TMZ caught up with Garcelle and asked Garcelle about the statement that she made about Kyle. If you want to be a lesbian, be a lesbian. And then Kyle called her an a-hole on the after show. So Garcelle was like, I'm just telling her to be who she wants to be. I'm not going to take it back. Okay. Anyways, all right. Now we can get to the episode. Come on. No, it's okay. I was calling back to the episode as we were talking about the after show. Okay? So the episode starts off with Kyle coming in from a run and she runs into Reba, in the kitchen. And that's when we found out that Reba was a Cancer. It was a very short scene, but she shared a lot in that moment. And a lot of people are calling out Reba for treating Kyle very differently than she treats Garcelle. But then I saw how Reba treated the housekeeper, and I was like, Reba is just different, okay? Do I think there might be a little something in there? Probably. But I also think that Reba is just a hard person, okay? To get to know. And that might be the Cancer in her. You know, the hard shell, but soft on the inside? Yes. So that she says that, she reveals that, I'm a Cancer, but I'm not that nurturing. Oh. Avi comes into the room and he's like, are you ready we're going to get ready for brunch. She's like, I thought it was going to be breakfast. Well, it's about to be lunch. So we're going to do a brunch. Poor Avi. Avi, and then he's just like, I thought that you might want to get dressed for it. And she's like, I am dressed. And she was like, well, I thought you might want to fluff up a bit. She's like, no, I don't. Oh, okay. All right. Garcelle comes down and she's helping Avi, like, is everything together? Is everything ready? And they kind of look at each other because they know how Sutton is. He's just like, oh, well, I wanted to wait until she came down and told me what she wanted. And she's like, I know, we love her. In regards to Sutton, Sutton must be a lot. You Virgos, you see what you do to people. Let me show you your victims, Garcelle and Avi. They can't deal with you. You guys work their nerves. Barry says, did you say something sort of nice about cancers, Kempire? I did, didn't I? Foxy says, we all know who Reba voted for. Well, here's the thing. At least we know where Reba stands. There are a lot of people that you know and love that you think voted one way and they voted the other way. Just saying. But anyways, moving along. That's not what you're here for, I guess. Guys, if you missed it, we did do a special Super Bowl recap the other day in regards to, the halftime show, the game, the symbolism within the halftime show. Be sure to check that out here on our YouTube channel, but you can also check it out on our podcast. So subscribe to the podcast today. And while you're there, don't forget to give us a 5-star rating. I forgot to let you guys know that today's live show is brought to you by our friends over at Factor Meals. As you know, on a busy day like today, what I need is a meal in 2 minutes and a quality meal, because there's so many meal services out there that just don't cut it. And a lot of you have tried out Factor Meals and you told me how much you love Factor Meals, okay? So, ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating very easy, okay? They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes so that you can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active or busy lifestyle. This is what I love. Lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor Keto Meals based on a randomized controlled clinical trial with Factor Keto. Results will vary depending on diet and exercise. They also have so many different options that go from Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. All right. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/Factor Podcast and use code Factor Podcast to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code Factor Podcast at factormeals.com/Factor Podcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. More information will be available on Factor Meals and your discount in the description. Shout out to Factor Meals for sponsoring today's live recap of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Okay? All right. Moving on. Let me take a sip. Okay. All right. Some of you guys are so hilarious in the chat. All right. Let me just say thank you. We had a few super chats. Sharon, thank you so much for the super chat. Sharon says, Karen Huger will make an appearance on Beyond the Gates. I did see that. Thank you so much for the super chat. Miss Esquire, thank you for the super chat. Miss Esquire says, Bose, you want to raise a child in an emotionally safe home where a man can't speak his love? Girl, let's be for real. In regards to Keely not being able to say, I love you. Delon, thank you so much for the super chat. Delon says, Bose needs to get a grip. A baby isn't happening. So naive, she gets on my last nerves. Oh, damn. Look, damn. Paige, thank you so much for the super chat. Paige says, Lael, Bose's daughter, was very sweet in her talk with Bose. We're going to talk about that in a second. Delon sent another super chat. Delon says, Bose needs to focus on her problem, not Doritos. Damn, Delon is in his feelings right now. Unique, thank you so much for the super chat. And Unique says, hey, Camp, I just wanted to support you. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills was a hard 8. I'm a Cancer, and I like Miss Reba. Oh, talk to you later. Damn. All right. Thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate it, guys. Don't forget the Kempire After Dark live experience. We'll be returning to New York City next Friday. I can't believe that show has come up so quickly. Next Friday, the Brooke Ashley will be joining me on stage for some hot topics, Real Housewives conversation, and more. Don't forget there is a live stream option for the show as well. More information on the Kempire After Dark live show back here in New York City will be available in the description. So back to our Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. All right, so Kyle had that brief conversation with Reba. She goes upstairs. Avi and Garcelle are preparing for this lunch. Kyle has a conversation with Sutton about, she's like, I just spoke to your mother, and she revealed that she is not much of a nurturer. And Sutton was so shocked. She was like, she told you that? She was so shocked by that. But anyone that has tough parents probably can relate to that, where your tough parent is very different to other people and strangers than they are to you. So I wasn't completely surprised by that. So Sutton talks more about her father and the day he died. And she said that her father started struggling, having like mental health struggles when she was in her 20s, and she had to come home. She said they had to hospitalize him twice. She said that he would self-medicate with alcohol. Guys, you know what? I had a thought. Because you remember there were accusations against Sutton and her drinking. And it made me wonder. And I said, when people were making those accusations, that probably really cut her deep because of what she saw with her father. So that was a thought that ran across my mind, because I know people have made accusations. Kyle, Dorit have made accusations about Sutton's drinking. So she talks about how her father would self-medicate with alcohol. She said that he would never, like he was on medication for his depressive states. However, he would never go to therapy. So he was just taking things to make himself feel better, or at least content for the moment. But he wouldn't go to therapy. Then she revealed, she's like, yeah, my father unalived himself back in December of 2002. So this is like over 20, almost 23 years ago. And it happened like a couple of days before Christmas. Wow. Yeah, Angel says, you're right, Kemp. I didn't make the alcohol connection. I literally, as I was watching it this week, it came to, I was like, whoa. And they've talked about her drinking before. Okay. Let me take a sip from my coldest water bottle. Please hold. So Avi and Garcelle and Reba are in the kitchen. And Reba is just working Avi's nerves. He's like, would you like a drink? She was like, yeah. So he's trying to prepare. She's like, I don't like that. And Garcelle's getting a kick out of it because she sees it. And then Garcelle and Reba, Weezer, laugh at each other. they smile at each other. And I'm just like, OMG, what is happening right now? So, but I thought it was funny. Poor Avi. He already has to deal with Sutton. Now he's got to deal with Sutton's mother, who's very much like her, if not worse. Okay? So he's running around the kitchen trying to make her this drink. Okay? So Garcelle decides to go outside to have a conversation with Reba. But before they go outside, Reba says to Garcelle, you don't want no ice with that? She's like, I'm tropical. I don't want to put no ice. She's like, well, you sure aren't English. What was that? What did she mean by that? Look. What does she mean by that? You sure aren't English. Look. Reba, what? Can you explain? Because even Garcelle was just like, what? Okay. So Garcelle and Reba have a conversation about Sutton, and they flash back to a conversation where Sutton was getting emotional, talking about her relationship with her mother, and she was having this conversation with Garcelle. Okay? Reba said Garcelle's had a previous conversation, as I mentioned before, with Sutton about this relationship and how difficult it's been, and she wants to have this conversation with Reba. But Reba feels like Garcelle is overstepping. She says that she doesn't think that it's any of Garcelle's business. And look, I think a lot of people would agree. Like, okay, Garcelle, you're overstepping. You shouldn't get involved in this family drama. Here's the thing. I think Garcelle really loves Sutton. For everyone that thinks that this Sutton and Garcelle friendship is an alliance, it's not real, I feel as if we are seeing every day, this is a real friendship. that exists outside of this show and is deep for her. And Garcelle really wanted to help and be supportive of Sutton. And although I don't know what she thought she was going to gain from this conversation, because even after they had the conversation, I was like, I don't feel like we're in a better place. Because even Reba was sort of like, did someone send you to have this conversation? Are you being the representative? Okay. And she's like, well, maybe I am. So maybe that sort of set Reba up to being open for the conversation that happens later in the episode. Maybe. Who knows? But I don't feel like by the end of the conversation, it actually went anywhere. And I get why people would probably look at Garcelle like, Garcelle, you're doing a little too much. You shouldn't get yourself involved in this very deep family drama. I know personally, I wouldn't. I wouldn't never had that conversation unless that person brought it up to me. We were having iced tea out back, and somehow Reba brought it up and then sort of was open to your opinion. Then I might say something. Sidebar. I think it was during the after show that we found out that, because a lot of people probably look at the Reba and Garcelle relationship like she don't like Garcelle and she don't like her because she black. But according to Sutton, Reba wants Garcelle to pick her up from the airport. Yeah, like driving Miss Daisy. Oh my God, I can't. That's what she said. And Sutton said, well, she knows I'm not going to pick her up from the airport. I understand LAX is crazy. It's just better to get an Uber from LAX. All right. Nashville says she believes that it did help the conversation for Sutton. All right. Moving on. Guys, if you're just joining us, don't forget to like the video. It's easy. It's free. We are talking about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and we just talked about Garcelle's conversation with Wackaweeza. And she didn't Wackaweeza, but she tried to have a conversation with Reba, and it seemed as if it didn't go anywhere, but maybe it did. Maybe it helped the conversation move forward when Sutton finally had the conversation. Okay. See, Felicia agrees. Felicia says, I do think that Garcelle's conversation helped Reba open up, or at least be prepared and not be blindsided by it being brought up later. Okay? Oh, Coco says, Reba knows a production moment when she sees it. Yeah, look, maybe. Maybe. All right. Okay, where do I want to go? So they have their brunch, okay? Sutton tells her mom that she plans to bring Kyle and Garcelle to the family home. The family home, so where they're staying, for those that don't know and don't realize it, the home that they're staying is Sutton's new Augusta home. Well, I don't know how new it is, but it's not where she grew up. It's her own home that she has there in Augusta, Georgia. Around the corner is her family home where she grew up and is now owned by someone else. So she tells her mom that she's planning to take the ladies there. And she's just like, why'd you want to do that? And then Kyle's like, yeah, we're going to go inside and everything. She was like, oh no, Horace, no. Why would you want to do that? Understandable. That's where her father took his life. Why would you want to go there? Why would you want to show that? But it's a beautiful home. I don't know if the new owners made a lot of changes to it, but I don't know if it was in the after show or during the episode that Sutton said that her father, they built that home. So it was their home. And it's a beautiful home. Okay, so she tells her mother that she's planning to take the ladies there, and her mother has no intention on going with them. And she doesn't want to hear about it when they come back either. Look, you have to remember, everyone deals with things very differently. Sutton deals with her father's death differently. Sutton's relationship with her father is very different than the relationship that Reba had with Sutton's father. And they talk a lot about that during the after show as well, in regards to, we have to understand the relationship dynamics are very different. Garcelle, after her conversation with Sutton's mother, Reba, Weezer, she had an epiphany in the confessional. And she says she believes that Reba is or was jealous of Sutton's relationship with her father, because Sutton was very close with her father, and Reba was very jealous of that. She believes, based off of her conversation with Reba. Okay. All right. So, Reba says she's definitely not going. This is when we find out that Reba was home with Sutton's father when he took his life. And this is where Sutton admits that she holds resentment against her mother, because she's like, my mother knew that he had pills and alcohol and a loaded, pow, pow, pow in the house. And she was in the kitchen when he took his life. So she admits that she holds resentment, pent up resentment about, you could have done more. You could have done something. Is it right? No, I don't think that's realistic or right, but that's the way that Sutton feels. And God only knows what Reba feels in regards to that. She probably has her own guilt about that. And she shouldn't be guilty about that. All right. Let me see. Thank you, Bianca, for the super chat. Bianca says, happy Dorit is able to bring her longtime friend Bose on the show. What? They are so fake with this friendship. How dare people compare them to Sutton and Garcelle? Oh my God. Lady Hannah, I feel like I haven't seen you forever. Thank you for the super chat. She says, after watching Sutton and some self-reflection, I want to apologize to my friends and family for my Virgo behavior. The self-reflection, Lady D. The self-reflection. I love that for you. Cottoman, thank you so much for this soup. I got a shimmy. For the $20. Cottoman says, listening to Sutton's situation with her father made me cry. It reminded me that parents are not going to be with you forever. Take advantage with your parents. You don't know it's going to be your last time with them. Yeah, especially if you had that type of relationship. She was very close with her father. Very, very close with her father. Okay. Let me see. Hold on. Oh my goodness, I'm missing. It's like scrolling up. Hold on. Pamela Yang says this. She says, how do you believe that Dorit and Kyle's separations are fake, but Garcelle and Sutton's friendship is real outside the show? They're just coworkers like that like each other. Because they actually hang outside the show. And I think a lot of people, especially if you have feelings and you're intuitive, you can kind of tell when people are being fake. I know some people don't put a name on it in regards to, their intuition. But let me tell you, people are not dumb. The audience is far smarter than reality TV producers or network heads believe. That's why a lot of people are like, there's something about the season. They might not say, I sense or I'm intuitive. They're going to say, I'm bored. This is ridiculous. But I'm telling you, intuitively, people can tell through the BS. Do I believe that Kyle and Dorit have marriage issues? Yes. Do I think that inevitably they will get divorces? Yes. Do I think that they're conveniently utilizing it as a storyline because people have said that they have no storyline and that they need to go? Yes. Have there been accusations and rumors about them doing this for years? Yes. And do I have a little bit more of an inside know of these fakery from behind the scenes? Yes. Just saying. But it's okay. You don't have to believe. You could believe that their storyline is actually their storyline. Dorit, get off your burner account. Get off your burner account. No, you don't have to have a burner account. There are plenty of people that believe the Dorit and the Kyle storylines. It's okay. You can believe what you want to believe. But I'm believing what I want to believe. You get you a YouTube channel and share that there, okay? Coco says, everybody say it together. Yes. Look, everyone has a right to their opinion. But look, this is my opinion. Again, not CNN. I love when they come through. You're being so biased. This is not CNN. This is my opinion. All right, moving on. Moving on, because I do want to get to some callers, and it's already almost 4:30. And normally we do our lives earlier. Okay. Thank you, Melissa. Melissa, we appreciate all of your insight, Kempire. Apparently people want me to come up here and be fake and be like, yeah, so on this week's episode of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, oh my God, can you believe Dorit and PK are getting a divorce? Oh my God. Oh my God, can you believe that PK wrote her that email? I can't be Bose. Because I don't know if Bose even believes what she's hearing from Dorit. Can't. I can't do that every single week. I would be drained by doing that. Drained. All right, moving on. Speaking about draining, Erica's home renovation. Erica's probably the only person that's done a home renovation that I am bored with. Like, I'm interested in the home renovation, and here's the thing. No, I'm not interested in a home renovation because of the way they're editing it. Because we're not getting much of it. What I can appreciate is the transformation, the emotional transformation that Erica is going through because of this renovation and why she decided to do this renovation. To me, it's a great lesson for a lot of people that feel like, oh, I shouldn't invest in my home. Oh, because I don't own it. No, you should. You're going to live there. Some of you are living in homes that you've rented for years. Why not make it your own? Why not make it feel like a home? And that's one of the biggest lessons that I learned during the pandemic. I was like, I'm so glad that I invested in making my home feel like a home. So I thought what she talked about and reflected on, because she's like, there was a time that people, felt like I shouldn't work or spend my money and things like that. Erica, that's not what people were. And look, I don't know what people have said in Erica's comments or DMs. At least over here, our criticism of Erica was the way that she treated the victims and the way she addressed the victims on the show. Her lack of sensitivity, her trying to keep earrings that were clearly bought with victims' money. Everything else that was mixed up in there that you don't know whether or not. One thing we can't deny is that the earrings were bought with victim money, and that your estranged husband abused victim money. And we get, you can't say, oh, that's what he did, but you showed no empathy. Till this day, has showed no empathy. So I have no problem with you working and making your money. I mean, based off of what you've worked and what you're doing with the lifestyle that you're living, the math isn't necessarily mathing for me, but it's okay. What I can appreciate is the growth that she's having during the season and what she's reflecting on. And the voice of reason that she's being for Dorit in this divorce. Because if this is a real divorce, and I can appreciate the women handling it, they can't do what we're doing. We're saying that's fake, that's not real. They're handling it like, oh, you're going through this divorce. He said what? He did what, girl? I appreciate what advice she's giving to Dorit. I don't know if she 100% believes that advice, meaning if she 100% believes Dorit in this whole situation. But I can appreciate someone that might hear what Erica's saying that might be in a similar situation as Dorit, going through a divorce, possibly going through a divorce, realizing like, oh, maybe I need to get ahead of this. Maybe. So we get to see a little bit of the renovation that's happening at Erica's home. I'm sure by the end of the season, I saw Andy Cohen posted on social media that he's asking for questions for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion. So that should be coming up in a couple of weeks. So that should be interesting. All right. So Erica says that she's been under a microscope since, the whole situation with Tom Girardi. She said that some people believe that she shouldn't work or have money. I'm okay with you having money, girl. What I'm not okay with is you holding on to earrings that were bought with victims' money. Just saying. All right, so she was on FaceTime showing Dorit some of the renovations and things like that. Okay. Oh, Ashley says, Kempire, I wish you watched Married at First Sight. I do, but I don't watch it when it's airing. And I used to recap it, but it's such a hard show to recap because it's so long and we cover so many other shows. So that's the only reason. I do love Married at First Sight. And Ashley says it was a wild week. Really? All right. Moving on. Did you guys see that interview that Lisa Rinna did with Andy Cohen talking about calling the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills a Titanic? Girl, you can't even come up with something original. That is what Phaedra said about Real Housewives of Atlanta only before Phaedra returned to Real Housewives of Atlanta. Beverly Hills is not a sinking ship. Beverly Hills is still very much interesting and entertaining. Is it perfect? Is it its heyday? Nope. But it's far from a sinking ship. If you return, it would be. Just saying, no one cares. Okay. All right. Let's talk about. Oh my goodness, I have a few more scenes to go. All right, let me get through these really quickly, guys. So Garcelle, Sutton, and Kyle go to visit her childhood home. Before they even get in there, Sutton has an emotional reaction. She doesn't know if she can do it because she hasn't been there. Mind you, this house is right around the corner from her new house. So she has a little bit of emotional reaction, but she does eventually go. Shout out to the family that allowed Sutton to go in there and film. Because we see something one way, but we don't realize that there are tons of people behind the scenes filming, wires, lighting, traipsing through this woman's beautiful home. I don't know if this is how the home looked originally when Sutton lived there, but whatever this woman did and her decor, beautiful home. And she was so lovely to Sutton. She's like, oh, there might be some tears. And she's like, that's perfectly fine. I don't know. Look, I don't know. Would you allow someone to come walk through? It's not even just a walkthrough. You are allowing a whole team of people to come film in this beautiful home that you have. I know it's like one day, but still, like, no, I don't know if I'm gonna, like, I get it. You lost. You can come, but you can't bring your camera crew. How would you guys do it? I mean, I appreciate it for us getting this view. So shout out to, was it her name, Maureen? I thought she did I thought that was very nice of her. Would I have done it? Angel says, yes, that was very sweet. I would do it. I probably would allow the family to do it. I don't know if I would allow filming. Okay. Priya says that was it was, and she was so lovely, the woman. She was the new homeowner. She was so lovely about it. And the home is beautiful. So Sutton gives Garcelle and Kyle the tour, and she shows her, the room she grew up in. She shows her parents' room, and then she said, this is the spot where I saw my father last. And she talked about what she would do every time she would see him. He would put his hand out, and she said this last time he didn't. So she just like pulled on his toe. And she said she had a lot of regrets because part of her felt like she should have had more conversations with him, been there for him. And I think a lot of people that lose people in this way have a lot of regrets. And it's understandable. But please understand, I don't think there's anything you could have said or done that would have changed the outcome. Unfortunately. And I think that the family did as much as they could do for him at the time. Again, remember, she said that he wasn't even going to therapy. He was self-medicating. So she talked about that, and she gets really emotional about that. Garcelle gets really emotional. Again, I feel like Sutton chose the right people. I know she's had an up and down relationship with Kyle, but I felt like she chose the right people to go with her on this trip, at least based off of the group. I think we found out Jennifer Tilly was out of town. That's why she didn't end up going. She would have been the light humor. Okay. But we need to go back to Augusta with Jennifer Tilly, Garcelle, maybe the entire crew. Okay. But yeah. Pure Luxury Salon says, the family, yes, the cameras, no. See? I'm not the only one. Traipsing through my house, messing things up, banging my walls with stuff. It's all right. Yeah, Foxy said he was very much in pain. Yeah, he was going through things. So she has that conversation with Kyle and Garcelle in that room, and then they hug after, because she feels like going to the house and being there is going to help her heal from the wounds of the past when it comes to her father, because she still feels very much that she hasn't healed. And I know some people are like, well, this was 20-something years ago. I need you guys to put yourselves in these people's places, because some of you have gone through what Sutton has gone through. You've lost someone and you still haven't healed from what's happened from 20, 30, 40 years ago. And you're out here with not being healed, torturing people because you're not healed. Not all of y'all, but you get what I'm saying. There are people out and about with their trauma that you haven't spoke to anyone with. They haven't done the work. They haven't healed for years, and they still haven't healed. At least for Sutton, last season and this season, it seems like she's on a journey of trying to heal. And Sutton, I think that's a good thing, because I know you are also trying to get into a relationship. But I think once you heal all of this other stuff, you will get into a really good relationship, despite being a Virgo. Come on, Virgos. Y'all know I love y'all. Come on.
Asawi, I love you.
Oh, y'all are so shady in the chat. I can't. Shout out to the replay crew. Replay crew, don't forget to let us know your thoughts and opinions on this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and your thoughts and opinions on some of the other hot topics that we started off today's Alive with as well. And don't forget, our friends over at Rose Forever is still allowing you guys a nice discount. Kempire 20 for $20 off. Roses that will last you at least a year. Look, I got some more roses. They are spoiling me over there at Rose Forever. Come on now. Shout out to them. Go get you something today in regards to some roses. They smell so delicious. My entire studio smells like fresh roses right now. Okay? Theo says sneak attack to the Virgos. Rose Forever, Kempire 20 for $20 off. Valentine's Day is Friday. You still have time. Especially if you're in the States. You still have time to get you something that will last you at least a year. And I told you, if you saw, I found some that were like 2 years old. Okay. Anyways, back to our show. Okay. Oh, wait. Ms. Esquire says, consider this a cease and desist.
Asawi, I love you.
That's for my Virgo slander. It's okay. Consider this a cease and desist. Amber, thank you so much for the super chat. Amber says, this is Sutton's best season. We got more of her mom and met her brother. Did we not meet her brother before? Probably not. We do see a flashback with Sutton and her brother in this week's episode as well, because she must have met up with him the night before and it was filmed. She says, about time she had her own storyline. Garcelle, question mark. Damn. The shade. Tish, thank you so much for the super chat. Shimmy. Sorry. Tish says, did anyone else think of Candace's mom when we found out that Reba was a therapist? Good point. What's up with all of these unhealed mental health professionals? It feels counterproductive. Well, one thing I learned as a psychology major, a lot of these therapists and psychiatrists that you're going to, the reason why they even got into the field was because of their own issues. Do I think that they're still able to provide quality service? I do. And sometimes you're better handling things that have nothing to do with you. And I know that does sound counterproductive, but I still believe that they're still able to help people. But I didn't think about Candace's mom because she's also a therapist. You're right. Okay. Paul Ramos. Paul says, I'm wearing headphones and that lightning is loud. I was so tempted to do it again for you, but I won't do that. I won't be mean. Okay. Jermaine says, is it Side Chick Day, February 14th? Apparently, you can still get you a little something. Rose Forever. Kay says, Dr. Greg or Married to Medicine. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Jan says that therapists are still people and no one's perfect. Agreed. All right. Let me take a sip. All right. You know what? I'm actually going to drop the call link really quickly. I'm not going to take a lot of calls today just because I have things that I still need to do work-wise. But I am going to drop the call link for our members. Live chat. Be sure to like the video if you haven't liked the video already. Members, I'm going to post a call-in link on the post tab. That's what they're calling it now here on YouTube. Shout out to everyone watching on TikTok, those of you watching on Twitch and Twitter. Okay. All right. I dropped the call-in link for our members. Let me get back to this other. So we have that scene with Sutton, Garcelle, and Kyle where they visit Sutton's childhood home. Then we have the scene with Bose and Erica and Dorit meeting up. So Bose gives an update in regards to her relationship with Keely. And this is when we find out that her and Keely have not said I love you. We sort of skipped over that. Okay. Oh, wait. I forgot to talk about Bose and her daughter. Rewind. Because I love this scene too. Speaking of Bose, and then I'll jump right to the ladies meeting up. Bose and her daughter have a conversation about Keely because she says she wants Keely and Lael to kind of get along and be in each other's lives, and because things are getting serious. Okay, and she reveals that it's really just been her and her daughter for the last 10 years, and as you know, they travel together, they do everything together. Okay, but she thinks it's important that Lael, there we go, gets to know Keely. And that's when we found out that Lael met Keely for the first time when he surprised Bose and Lael in Ghana. And I said to you, I find that to be strange. I find that to be a little concerning. But again, we don't know the context. Maybe he already was in Ghana on a business trip or vacation. I don't know. But something said to me, I was like, especially after last week's episode with Keely. I'm not sure. Okay. But Lael seems to like Keely enough, but they have a conversation about her possibly having another child, Bose having another child. And Bose is actually surprised at Lael's maturity because she's just like, you and I have our bond, and that bond is evolving, and I want you to be able to share that type of bond with someone else, meaning another child. So she says she's open to Bose having another child. She's like, where's my little kid that threw a tantrum at the mention of possibly another kid? And she's just like, your kid is getting older. Your kid is mature because of what you put into her. And I honestly believe that Bose is doing a bang-up job with her daughter. You know, we fell in love when, you know, they do their trips together, and she's like, well, if you want to go on this trip, you need to give me a presentation as to why we need to go on this trip. So I feel like Bose's daughter is going to be just fine in this world, and she's probably going to do big and great things, okay? But I saw in that moment the emotional maturity that she displayed in that moment. And even Bose was just sort of like, I could cry. I thought it was a really, really great scene, and I didn't want to forget about it or skip over it. But again, I have notes. Okay. Speaking of Bose, so Bose, Erica, and Dorit hang out. Bose updates us on this whole Keely situation and how they're talking about babies, but he's never said I love you. And she does not want to be the first person to say it. And a lot of you agree, like, I don't want to be the first person, but are you having conversations about babies before you've had the conversation about I love you?
Asawi, I love you.
Right? Are we having that conversation before we talk about babies? Okay. So, but Bose does say that she loves him, but she's just not ready to tell him that. She wants him to say it first. Okay. So Dorit brings up PK and what's going on with PK, and she says they spoke to each other, and she says that PK basically acted as if he didn't write an email saying all this other stuff that he was saying, and like nothing happened. So Erica and Bose are like, "Girl, run right now." Bose says that he could be trying to secure one of the best divorce attorneys in town so that you don't secure that person, and that he could blindside you later on. And sidebar, Erica also thought it was weird about Bose and Keely's situation about not having to say I love you before you talk about babies. She waited on that. Okay. So Bose and Erica are like, girl, you need to be prepared. So here's why I'm not convinced about Dorit and PK's divorce. Dorit's not a good actress because her reaction, and I know everyone reacts differently to things. I understand. Her reaction was a little too blasé for me. Because if my friend sat there and told me, and it was something that I didn't think of myself, I would have been like, you think that, I would have shown real concern. Dorit, I didn't see concern on her face. Because this is a plot that her and PK set up to come to us for another season with the bull. Okay? So that was another example of why every single week I'm like, I'm not convinced. It's like she's trying to produce. So she says, she's like, you really believe that? She's like, Bose is like, wake up, girl. You need to be prepared. And I can appreciate both Bose and Erica giving sound advice to Dorit. But the sound advice is falling on deaf ears because Dorit knows that this is not real. Exactly. Chocolate Soul says, Dorit's reactions in detailing this divorce story is so emotionless. Because it's not real, Chocolate Soul. Not real. Okay. So they had that conversation. Blah, 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 blah. Bose gave her advice. She's like, he could be scooping up all the best attorneys in town so that when he does the file for divorce, you won't have the best attorney. And I was like, I didn't even think about that. Even my reaction watching it probably was a bigger reaction than the person that's actually going through it. Okay. All right. Let's get to the part of this episode that I really wanted to talk about. And that's the final scene where we see we see Sutton preparing this crab cakes dinner because she reveals that her father used to make crab cakes. He made the best crab cakes. So she wanted to make it. She says her mother made her do it for Christmas Eve. Her father died on December 23rd. So the next day, her mother had her in the kitchen making crab cakes. She burned them. She's like, I burned them. You know that damn Wacka-Weezer? I can't stand Weezer. Weezer, Wacka-Weezer. Anyways. So she decides to have a conversation because she has her fashion that she's working on, her capsules that she's working on, this new business that she's working on. She's trying to tell her mother about it. And her mother has all these little snarky remarks. She's like, oh, that's like when you made something in this country and then it's really made in Cuba or Cuba. I forgot how she pronounced it. It was so funny. So she's trying to explain this, this idea to her mom. She's like, no, it's not like that. It's this, and it's a lot of work, and I just need you to say that you're proud of me. And she's like, why do you need me to say that? And then when she explained, this is why I was like, well, this is a therapist saying that she feels like saying I love you, saying that you're proud of someone is trite. That's when I gave her the side. And mind you, she's about to retire. She's 80-something years old. And she says that saying I love you is trite? What? Saying that you're proud of someone is trite? Is that the advice that you're giving to your clients? Your patients? That's where she kind of lost me. I was like, But I do agree. When you look at this conversation between Sutton and her mother, I think the conversation with Garcelle gave her a heads up because she seemed a little bit more open, a little bit more willing to hear what Sutton had to say. Because Sutton's like, I need you to say that you're proud of me. Again, I think there's just so much to unpack when it comes to Reba and why Reba is the way that she is. It's not just because Reba is a Cancer. I think this is also a lot of the way that she grew up. And I would love to know her relationship with her own mother. So Sutton is having this conversation as she's trying to prepare this dinner with her mother. And her mother seems willing to listen. Do I think it was just for the cameras? Because remember, we were just talking about this with Real Housewives of New York. We saw Raquel meet with her mother, and it seemed all good when it's on television. But when it's not on television, is it just going to go back to her being the way that she is? And Kyle had the best statement. She was like, you just want to put it out there. You just want to get your feelings out there. She's an 82-year-old woman. She's not going to change at this particular point in life. And I was like, you're right. We didn't even talk about Kyle's little FaceTime with Kathy Hilton. A mess. She's like, Kathy, we're on the phone. We're on FaceTime. Stop putting the phone next to your ear. I need to look at you. So she has the conversation with her mom about how she feels. And although at the beginning, her mother did not seem like she was open to it, but she seemed to be getting there. Okay. Then Sutton invites, she's like, I know you don't like to travel, but I'm having this fashion show. She's like, I'll go. She don't even wait for the words to come out of her mouth. She's like, I'll go. Do I got to stay in Philip's room? And she's like, you don't have to stay in Philip's room. What room do you want to stay in? Well, you know, the one with the aquarium. I can't sleep with that. Oh, wait, rewind. So Sutton says, some people need you to say that I'm proud of you. So she's like, well, okay, I'm proud of you. Oh, that was really convincing, Weezer. That was convincing. She's like, okay, I'm proud of you. Okay, fine. I thought it was a good episode. I thought it was a good scene. I don't think that Reba, is going to change. However, once you have the information, I think as a therapist, once she has the information, she's able to be like, you know what? I'm not going to change, but at least I know how you feel and I can make an effort. Do you think that she will make an effort? I wonder if Reba actually goes to the fashion show. I hope so. Because that means that, this is a different era in her life. Sidebar. Reba in this conversation is just like, well, now you're doing all these business things and now you're just like me. And I know that's definitely not the thing that Sutton wanted to hear. She does not want to be like her mother at all. But her mother was a working woman. Her mother wasn't a great cook. She mentions that. She's like, after Daddy died, food became crappy. Because her mother wasn't a great cook. Her mom was working. But remember, Sutton went on to be a housewife for many years. She's just starting to work and do what she's doing now. And her mother could not relate to her when she was I'm going to put in quotes, just a housewife. We know that encompasses a lot. Okay. So she's like, but now you're like me. In more ways than one, besides just working. And Sutton wants to emphasize to her mother, like, well, no, I chose to be a stay-at-home mom. And I wonder what Sutton's relationship is like with her kids. I know we've seen a little bit of it, but I would want to know from their perspective. And their relationship with their grandmother. She called one of the kids weird. She probably says it to their face. Okay. Anyways. We are going to get to some callers. I've talked a lot. Did not expect to talk this much about the episode, but here we are, an hour and almost 40 minutes in. Deborah, thank you so much for being a member and for the super chat. Deborah says, Dorit's divorce is as real as a robbery at their home. We're going to leave that alone. Okay, members, we've posted the call link on the backstage, on the posts section of YouTube. We're going to take some callers. Please respect the timer so that we're able to get to everyone. Mods, please let us know how many likes, not how many likes, I can see how many likes we have, how many likes we should get in order for me to drop the call link. I don't really want to drop it, but I just want to I'm done, I'm tired. Okay, let me go to the calls. Let me throw up my disclaimer. Guys, don't forget the Kempire After Dark live experience is returning to New York City on Friday, February 21st. That is next week. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, get your tickets today. There will be meet and greets. There will be tea spilled. There will be lots of conversation. Go get your tickets, okay? Okay. All right, Delon is first backstage. We're going to bring Delon up first. Delon, what did you want to share about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills?
Hi, Kempire. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm first for the first time.
Yeah.
It's Black History Month, period. But I just want to say that Bose is up in a tree being Naive instead of kissing Keely because this baby is not happening. I'm so sorry. It's like becoming like very annoying to watch because she done spoke about this baby a couple episodes and I'm like, this baby is not going to happen because you guys are big in age. No shade.
I mean, Janet Jackson had a baby at 50.
Well, that's Janet Jackson. You know, them Jackson genes are different, out of this world. But I just want to say I think Reba is also unaware and with a hint of prejudice because she acts just like Sutton. I don't see how Sutton doesn't see the similarities that they have. Garcelle was better than me because if she would have said I wasn't English, it would have been different. But you guys have a great night.
Thank you, Delon. Have a good night. Here's the thing. A lot of women are having babies later in life. I don't think that is going to be an obstacle for Bose, but it doesn't mean that she can't have a baby. She might maybe not carry it herself. She could, but then the other option is a surrogate or adoption and things like that. So there are all kinds of options. All right, Wendy's backstage. We're going to bring Wendy up next. Wendy, what did you want to share about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills?
Hi, Kempire. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sick with the flu, but I had to call in.
Hope you feel better.
Oh, okay. I feel a lot better than Sunday, believe me. Okay, I was about to say the same thing the previous caller did, that I can see a lot of Sutton in her mama in Sutton. And now I understand her more because of her mama. And then when you was calling her Weezer, I wanted to be Claire Reed saying, slap her.
Take a whack a Weezer.
Take a whack a Weezer. And then, but just in my opinion, having a baby in your late 40s, early 50s is just asinine to me. I don't understand why you want to do that to your body, to your mental, because that should be past. You should be past that age, that stage of life. You need to enjoy your life. But if that's what she wants, if you like it, I love it. But, oh, Lord, child, not me. But okay, then. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Wendy. Take care. Feel better. All right. Wendy never uses all her time. I wish more of you be like Wendy. No. I thank you so much for reminding me, Peyton. Peyton says, Kemp, you forgot my favorite part when Garcelle and Kyle ran. So you remember when Sutton and Wackaweeza, Reba, were having the conversation, they were eavesdropping. So shout out to Twitter, because I found this on Twitter, because we cite our sources. I think the person's name that made it, I'm not sure, Life of Guy or something like that, posted this on Twitter. Okay. So this moment when you see Kyle and Garcelle eavesdropping, it really was giving like scary movie, like their faces. And then when Sutton came to get them, they ran. Avi ran, Kyle ran up the stairs and then came back down the stairs like she wasn't just standing there. Yeah, that was a funny part. Thank you, Peyton, for reminding us. That was a really, really, really funny part. Bianca, thank you so much for the super chat. Bianca says, Avi, Garcelle, and Kyle getting caught. Oh, thank you, Bianca. You brought this up too. Getting caught, eavesdropping, and taking off running took me out too. It was like the best episode this season. It really was really funny. Shan, thank you so much for the super chat. Shan says, Candace's mom is a therapist too. They aren't sugarcoating anything. Yeah, Shan. Thank you for the super chat. Guys, you can also support the channel just by liking the video. We're talking about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Everything in regards to our sponsors and Valentine's Day and our live show will be available in the description. And don't forget, you can hear an audio version of our live recaps on the Kempire podcast. Hayat is backstage. We're going to bring Hayat up next. Hayat, what did you want to share?
A single mom who works 2 jobs, who loves her dad, and something. But you know the words. The words. Every time you hear her name, I think of that show, and then I'm like, nope, not the same Reva at all.
Nope.
At all. Kempire, Reva, it reminds me of a lot of the old people I used to volunteer like an old folks home when I was in high school, like all the time. And a lot of these older people kind of remind me of Reva. It's like having the same conversations. They're very short with you. They don't think that they're being rude. They're just being matter of fact and a little racist. But other than that, she really does remind me of them. I think the Keely and Bose thing is like it's weird to me because it's making me look down, like look at her funny, not down at her, like look at her funny because I'm like, Bose, you're a smart woman. You are really trying to sell us this relationship that you don't say I love you, but you want to have kids. And I don't think it's not because she can't have kids. She could definitely have kids.
Yeah.
It's that this is not a relationship to be having kids. But that's it, Kempire.
Thank you, Hayat. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. All right. Miss Esquire is backstage, but she issued a cease and desist. Should I be taking this call?
Well, I'm just trying to advise you of your legal responsibilities in response to said cease and desist. Listen, get your foot off of the neck of Virgos, okay? We have it hard enough in this world trying to be perfect while everybody else is satisfied with mediocre. Okay. I'm not going to take a lot of time unless you want me to talk about the divorce stuff from
Yes, please,
Apollo. Do you want me to talk about that a little bit before I talk? Okay. So here's the thing. A couple of things you have to remember in a divorce. One, what the person who files the divorce says is the date of separation can sometimes be subject to disagreement. Now, a lot of people, and it sounds like they may have done this, they do mediation before they file for divorce, particularly a lot of celebrities, and I'm using that word graciously for Apollo and his wife, but a lot of celebrities will do mediation before they file for the divorce so that the divorce is settled really quickly. So if there is a settlement agreement out there, then it means they did mediation. To me, they would have agreed what the date of separation was in order to settle the issues in the mediation, because a lot of rights and asset division and stuff like that kind of hinges on what the date of separation is. It's not uncommon to see couples coexist and co-reside with each other in the marital home, even during the separation period and during the divorce. A lot of them will do that until there is the equitable division of whatever the equity is in the home. Like maybe one person's going to buy another person out. They got to get a mortgage and all that kind of stuff for that, or refinance, or they're going to sell the home. So that's not uncommon. I think what people are struggling with is these allegations of abuse and this temporary restraining order that supposedly she got. And how does that stay in place if they're living together? Well, sometimes a judge will look at the facts and circumstances of what is alleged in the application for the restraining order and say, okay, can we structure this in a way where you guys can still coexist? Because it is actually a hardship under the law to make somebody leave the marital home when they do not want to and they are not divorced. Technically, they have legal rights to stay there. So it's a big deal to ask them to leave, right? So you got to have sort of overarching evidence to say, okay, things are so bad, I'm going to force one of y'all to leave and establish another home. So it sounds like to me, the court may have been able to put in some restrictions around their interactions with each other to satisfy the safety issues, but allow them to coexist together. And that would have been dependent on whatever the testimony was before the court that considered the restraining order. But it's not like an uncommon thing that never happens. I've seen it happen. I've seen people coexist in a home for up to 2 years during the pendency of a divorce. Now, they didn't necessarily have a TRO in place, but it's not uncommon for spouses who are divorcing to coexist in a home. It usually gets really uncomfortable because people start dating once they separated, and that can get weird.
Well, they started dating before they even applied for a divorce.
Yeah. But yeah, we would have to know what was like the facts and circumstances before the court. But one thing I will tell you that's weird about her divorce application is she's saying that it's basically on uncontested grounds by saying irreconcilable differences. But then she's alleging all this stuff about adultery and abuse, which you would typically see in a contested divorce. And so if they're going the uncontested way, especially if they settled all the marital estate division issues before she filed, then I'm trying to figure out why you put all this extra dip on your chip in the divorce decree or in the application for the divorce decree. That's not making sense to me. Now, maybe somebody who does work in Georgia can tell me why that is, but usually if you're just going to go uncontested, you state your irreconcilable differences and you move on. You don't have to put all the extra in there. So I don't know.
Okay. What were your thoughts on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills?
I, like you, do not believe that Dorit and PK are earnestly looking to divorce because Dorit is being too vapid in this situation and she's definitely being too lax. Dorit's not stupid. She's a lot of things, but she ain't stupid. She doesn't need to be coached by these ladies on how to protect herself in a divorce against PK. She knows how this man moves financially. She knows he moves in a way that is unseemly. I don't know why she would need to be coached like that if she seriously thought she was separating from this man and he's saying the sort of things that she's saying he's saying to her. So her behavior to me is not commensurate with somebody who is like seriously considering divorcing the person and knows that they're up for a fight. Like, she's saying it, but your actions aren't reflecting it. With Weezer, I think the thing with Weezer, with Miss Reba, one, I did not find her to be racist, and I know I'm going to be very unpopular in that opinion. She is very much like a lot of Southern women I know, black and white, especially Southern women of a certain time. I think the thing that probably bothers her is that you have her, this woman who during her time is probably really highly educated for a woman. Like, I can't imagine what her life experience was. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I can shut up.
Keep going.
I can't imagine like what her life experience was to achieve what she achieved and be a working woman in her time. And to have her daughter not want to emulate her, to not see her as some paradigm that she would want to follow, when it's like, listen, your father died of a chronic illness, left me here to raise, children, or y'all were adults, but still carry on this family. And I did it, and I worked, and I'm still working. I'm pretty self-made, and I'm not someone that you admire. I'm not somebody you want to be with. Like, as a mother, I'm not sure how you internalize that from your daughter. And I think that's what she was trying to say. Like, hey, we're similar now. Like, don't you think I gave you some of this fight that you have in you? Don't you I think I gave you some of this independence? And as somebody who struggles with their own mother to see our similarities, like, I imagine it's a very hard thing to have your daughter mirror for you that she wants to be nothing like you. And to pine for a parent that in some ways you might feel left y'all and you stayed and you had to pick up the pieces and you pining for that parent, and the parent who is here is the parent who gets your rejection. That's got to be a messed up headspace for her to be in too.
Yeah. Ooh.
So.
Woo. Thank you, Miss Esquire, as always.
All right, talk to you soon.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
She sent me a cease and desist. Joking, for those that are just joining us. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. It's easy and it's free. We're taking a couple of callers from our members. We appreciate their membership. We're going to bring up Miss Bernice next. Miss Bernice, what's going on?
Hey, Kempire, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm fine. We're getting ready to get this storm between 5 or 8 inches between tonight and tomorrow morning.
Oh, God. Stay safe out there.
Yeah. What I get from Miss Reba, when I said she's mean and surly,
Yes.
Sutton just needs to forgive her mother for not being the mother that she wanted and being the mother that she needed, because her mother was more hands off, as in teaching, and the father was more hands on, because you don't become mean and surly overnight. You was like that from the beginning. She said she's not nurturing, so she don't know how to be. Oh, baby, how you do at school today? We need to go bake some cookies for the Sunday Easter thing. She not that. Okay? She's a therapist. And she needs to forgive herself for not being the daughter she expected her to be, but the daughter that she became. Because with her and the father, she's still a product of both of y'all. Okay? And whatever your relationship was with your husband, I don't know if they was high school sweethearts or whatever, and it got to be a hurt to her, because when he needed her the most, and her being a therapist, she wasn't able to reach him. So that's some guilt she probably dealing with.
Good point.
Yeah.
All right, Miss Bernice, thank you for calling in.
Okay, kiddo. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Ooh. All right. We're going to get to some more calls. We got Janelle backstage. Janelle, what did you want to share about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills?
Bonjour, Kempire. How are you, darling?
Oh, well, how are you?
I'm good. Okay, first off, Miss Esquire, preach, preach, preach. Okay, she come through with the facts, and then she come through with the hard opinion, whether you like it or not. And I loved it. Okay, I just had to give her some kudos on that. And also she said pretty much everything I wanted to say about Dorit and Southern women of like a particular age or a particular time. And as a former debutante myself, I was taught never to show emotion in public. Okay. I still do because I'm a rebellious one, but as a woman of the South, I understand. I want to talk about this Ghana thing with Keely and Bose. First off, I love me some Bose. I've been following her on social media for years. I am obsessed with her and what she has done in her career. However, as a person who has lived in Ghana for a considerable amount of time, I don't live there anymore. That was years ago. I know because my dad was looking into coming to visit me while I lived there. You need a visa to enter the country. It's not like most parts of Europe where you have like the agreement between the countries and you can just show up on the flight. You need a visa, even if you're there for just a week or two, you still need a visa. In order to get a visa to Ghana, you have to one, go in person to the embassy in New York or
Keep going.
Okay, New York and DC, it takes 1 to 2 weeks to process if you show up in person. If you mail in the application, it takes longer than that. And you have to you have to forfeit your passport because they print the visa inside your passport. On top of that, you have to show proof of the yellow fever vaccine in order to get said visa because, little known fact, yellow fever was the disease that killed most Europeans when they colonized West Africa. So the country is aware of this. So that's why they make anyone who was born outside of Ghana's part of a coalition. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. But if you were born outside that coalition, you have to get a yellow fever vaccine and then submit that paperwork with your visa application and your passport. On top of that, not every doctor has access to the yellow fever vaccine because it's not like a COVID booster or the flu shot. Yeah. So you have to give doctors time to have that in stock. When I went to a specific doctor that me and my friends were all going to that had it in stock because he specialized in all the international or foreign diseases that are not prevalent here in America. So I was able to get mine in short notice, but also I live in New York. So I don't know how it is in LA. But I could tell you, outside of major cities, it's not easy to get. And then also on top of that, okay, you have to show proof of residence. When I say proof of residence, I'm talking about you have to provide to the Ghanaian embassy where you will be staying while you are in Ghana. And they have to verify said address before they say, okay, you're approved. Now, if you're there going as a tourist, they'll accept a hotel residence or Airbnb, or for my case, my friend told me when I wanted to go back, she said, put down my address on your visa application and I'll verify for you that you're staying here, which would have been the truth. I would have stayed with my friend. But all I'm trying to say is that this trip was not a coincidence. And if he was truly surprising her, this was a good 2 months in advance. And also, anyone that knows has been to Ghana in the last 5 years, those tickets are not cheap, okay? Or even in coach, those tickets are not cheap. From New York, it is a 12. It's I think 10 or 11 hour flight from New York City, nonstop. Okay. And they only fly direct out of DC or New York, JFK. If you're coming from LA, you have 2 layovers. You have a layover in either New York or DC, and then most likely another layover in Europe. And on top of that, there's only few select flights daily that go to Accra, which is the capital of Ghana. And there's usually only 2 or 3 flights. And only a few airlines fly to Ghana. Delta, British Airways, KLM, and I think United started recently after the pandemic. They started flying to Ghana. So all I'm saying is It wasn't planned. I love you both, but I'm looking at you with a side eye. I love you though.
Here's the thing. Again, I feel like there's a lot of context in that story that we may not have. Okay, so for all we know, he could have been there already on another trip. So who knows? But I feel like there's context that's missing. But my alerts went up. I was like, huh?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, so your yellow fever vaccine, because I saw someone in the chat, if you've gotten it within like the last like few years, they will accept it.
Yeah.
But that's not something that, you know how you go in for like a certain amount of vaccines when you're younger? That yellow fever is not on that list.
No, not at all.
So that's what I'm saying. This was a planned trip. This was not just like, oh my God, surprise. Like this was months in advance, because traveling to Ghana, even though it's a beautiful country, the people are amazing, it is still not a top 10 destination for most travelers within the Western world. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bose has a hookup with the tourism board where he can bypass certain things, because she was part of the initiative with the Year of Return in 2019 to get Black people in particular to travel to Ghana more often and treat it more so as like a birthright trip, similar to what Jewish people do with Israel. So I wouldn't be surprised if she helped him. But my point is, again, if she helped him get over there within short notice, she knew.
Short notice to her daughter, maybe not to her.
Exactly. Boom, there you go. But that's what I wanted to say.
All right. Thank you, Chanel. Thank you for calling in.
You're welcome, darling. And also check your DMs I said you're welcome in advance. It's about a certain member of traders. It's not tea. It's just something that Bravo Wild Black, I sent to Bravo Wild Black, and they were thanking me because one member on traders looks exceptionally well without certain items of clothing. But that is all I'll say.
Goodbye. And I'm ending the live. Goodbye, y'all.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, goodbye.
It's a certain brother. Goodbye.
Bye. Okay. I know who you're talking about. I want to see this DM. Hold on. All right. Let me get to the rest of these calls, guys. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video. It's easy and it's free. Callers, I'm putting the timer on. Respect it. I got to go. I've been live for 2 hours. Okay. And I'm not used to it. April's backstage. We're going to bring April up next. April, what did you want to share about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills?
Good evening, Kempire. When I was seeing Dorit's reaction, I immediately thought of you. I was like, oh, this is what Kempire meant. Like, it's very suspicious. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I think even if we did get, well, for me, if we got the added context as to this quote unquote surprise trip, it's like, still, why are you here? Like, I'm
with my daughter.
Right. Don't do that. There's levels. If Miss Reba would have said to me, oh, well, you're not English, I would have low-key probably said, well, your ancestors owned my people and they were English. And Sutton and Miss Reba's relationship reminds us that we need to have needed conversations, but also set boundaries, even with our parents. Because, I've experienced with both sides of my parents and losing my mom and things like that. So definitely have those conversations, but also stick up for yourself and know that forgiveness isn't for that person. And you can heal without forgiving. Have a great day, Kempire.
That's true. Thank you, April. All right, we're going to bring O'Shea up next. O'Shea, what did you want to share about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills?
Hey, Kempire, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. I just want to share something about Garcelle. I think this episode highlighted why she is important to the show. You don't necessarily need to have a storyline if you are interesting and you're able to carry conversations with multiple people. And if you are not miserable in the cast. Garcelle doesn't go around picking fights with anyone to fill the space. She's herself, she builds authentic relationships. And her and Sutton are real friends. They hang out all the time. When they're not filming, they are together practically every week. I mean, I'm sure it's on Instagram. And they're always in each other's stories, in each other's lives, in each other's houses. So they have like a real strong friendship. And I'm very grateful to see that. And yeah, that's all I had to say. I did want to tell you though, well, if you have some time, there's about Young in Africa. There's the roast of Kanye Mbao that came out. If you want to watch it,
the roast
you
of
will
Kanye?
cry laughing.
Send me, Mr. DM me, please.
I will send it to you.
Thank
yes,
you.
Nadia and all of them are on the panel. You will have time. But yeah,
Thank you so
I will
much.
send it to you.
Thank you, O'Shea. Have a good night.
All right, thanks.
Bye. All right, we have Meredith backstage. We're going to bring Meredith up next. Meredith, what did you want to share about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills?
Oh, okay. So I have three things. I don't know if anybody who watched the sneak peek of Real House of Beverly Hills. Basically, there was a scene between Garcelle, Dorit, and Sutton, and basically there was a kind of a tizzy. Basically, Garcelle was like, "Is there alcohol in the drink?" Because they were getting drinks, and Dorit was like, "Oh, why would you ask something related to if she's going to drink alcohol?" And understandably, Sutton was upset by it, and basically she called her, a bitch, and basically Dorit was like, "Don't call me that in my home." I know, just looking at that scene, I'm just kind of like, okay, Dorit, hold on. I'm in a meeting. I don't believe that this divorce is real. I don't believe it's real. And at the same time, it's like, you don't like Sutton. And so that's why I'm just kind of like, I don't believe your divorce. I don't believe the fact that, you're trying to get close to Sutton, but then I'm not really. And I'm just kind of like, you are not making any sense. And then also, I do think her relationship with Bose is kind of fake. I feel like she's trying to make up for the past. And then also, it's just like, I think she's also trying to build an alliance. And then also, it's just, I'm just waiting until Bose figures it out, because I don't believe it. I don't believe it. But that's it.
Thank you so much, Meredith, for calling in. Now get back to that meeting. Bye. I love it when you guys call in from work. Okay. I mean, I think next week's episode, we didn't talk a little bit about the preview for next week's episode, but it's going to be interesting because at one particular point during the preview, Garcelle says to Bose, "Stop being Dorit's representative." Okay. Billy Shaw says she's in a meeting with Kemp. Yeah, we were talking business, important business. All right. Last but definitely not least, we're going to bring up Jasmine. Jasmine, what did you want to share about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills?
Hey, Kempire, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. How are you?
I'm well. How are
Great
you?
to talk to you. I'm good, thanks. I just have a few things to say. Number one, I'm really tired of these producers bringing people on like they did Bose, and they had Sutton bring Bose on, only for them to fall out. Like, I'm tired of that. Like, it just needs to be more believable. It's just, the gig is up. You know what it is. Other than that, I wanted to talk about Bose and Keely really quickly, because I don't know everything, but I do remember Bose did go into detail, either on her IG or in her interview, about Keely and how he got to Ghana. It wasn't like a last minute. I don't know if it was, it didn't sound like he dropped everything and went there like in a day. There was a little bit of planning, but she didn't plan on him going when she went, because they had recently started dating, which for me kind of threw off that timeline of the pregnancy conversation, because I'm like, that was a year or a couple months before they started filming Housewives. It just didn't make sense. So that whole thing, that timeline doesn't make sense to me with them. And then the other thing I wanted to say, and I'm out, is that Keely now has dual citizenship. So he went to Ghana with her this year too. And he has dual citizenship. I don't know about that "I love you" thing, all of that. It's sounded very sus. But yeah, when I saw that over the holiday, I was like, okay, what's going on here? What's going on with this Keely? Are they trying to move towards marriage, or are they just, you know what I'm saying? Like, is he trying to prove something to her? I don't know. But the timeline, it wasn't timelining right for me when I figured out that pregnancy thing in relation with when he went to Ghana. It just was like, it seemed very rushed.
Especially if it's early on in their relationship.
Yes, because it was like the Christmas or holiday before they started filming. And you're saying you don't know if you love him, or you haven't said you love him, but
and he's meeting your daughter.
Pregnancy conversation, and he's meeting your child. that doesn't make sense to me. Like, especially at that age, it's kind of like there's so many, what comes with being a parent. He may not, but what comes with it. And what comes with the responsibility of picking up for if something happens to either one of you, with taking care of that child on either side. So it kind of just, that timeline was not making sense to me when I heard her say that I love you conversation yesterday. And just knowing that y'all just went to Ghana and y'all really just started talking. So how y'all at pregnancy? I don't know if she's doing it for the storyline. I don't want to say that. It's not working for me.
Thank you for that, Jasmine.
All right. I always bring the tea.
Yes.
All right. Have a good night.
Have a good night. I told you something, and I was I give grace. I was like, well, I don't know the full context of what she's saying here, but my red flag went up, and I was just like, he met your daughter for the first time on a trip to Ghana? And it was like a rush thing? Like, oh, this guy that I like is da-da-da. And now Jasmine's calling in saying that the timeline is not necessarily timelining. Look, parents can choose whenever they want their children to meet whoever they're dating. That's up to you. I'm not judging that. I'm just judging, like, who is this guy? Last week, the red flag went up, and I was like, This week, your son says that she sees red flags, and you're like, she doesn't know what she's talking about. You don't trust her instinct. I don't know if I trust your instinct at this particular point, Bose. You besties with Dorit. And look, I'm not saying it's impossible to be besties with Dorit, but there are a lot of people that don't like Dorit. And I'm not talking about the Bravo universe. I'm talking about people that know her and that are around her. So I'm looking at your instincts and judgment with the side eye. But okay. All right. Whatever. Look, whatever. Anyways, I want to say thank you to everyone that sent in a super chat, everyone that liked the video already. Shout out to our King's Guard. Shout out to our channel members. We have quite a few channel members, some people that are new. We posted the Discord link on the post tab here on YouTube for those that are members. Make sure you read the rules of the Discord, okay? Some of y'all need to get kicked out. No, I'm playing. But if you act up, you will get kicked out, okay? Anyways, thank you all for being here. Don't forget to check out Factor Meals, our sponsor for today's live, in the description for more details. Also, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Go get you something for yourself. Rose Forever is sponsoring as well. More information on that's available. And New York City, don't forget the Kempire After Dark live experience is returning next week, Friday. A week from this Friday, Valentine's Day. We're going to do a special dating live on Friday. So stay tuned for that. Lots of things happening. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on anything. And follow us on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, TheKempire on all platforms. And of course, here on TikTok. We appreciate you guys. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your day. I will see you all in whatever is the next one. Don't forget to subscribe to the Kempire Podcast. Look, right there. The Kempire Podcast today. Happy Black History Month. All right. We haven't forgotten, despite Google forgetting. Bye, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Podcast. As always, don't forget to give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And for everything Kempire Radio, head on over to KempireRadio.com.